Hello everyone. Today we're going to explore a European country that was once ruled by Muslims for 800 years. A country with an incredibly rich history. A country where people love football as much as they love a religion. Yes, today we're going to visit Spain. This country was once ruled by Muslims for 800 years. So how did it become such a country? Spain also has many cities where Pakistanis live, making up the second largest Pakistani population in the world. What kind of jobs do Pakistanis do here? Why is Spain the second most visited country in the world? What kind of visa can Pakistanis use? We'll share with you some facts about this country that you may not have heard before. Now, let's begin an amazing journey to Spain. Spain was not famous for its beaches, football, or European tourists. It was called Al-Andalus, one of the most sophisticated Muslim civilizations the world has ever seen. And honestly, most of us now have no clue how profoundly that time impacted Spain forever. On 711, a Muslim general from North Africa called Tariq ibn Ziyad landed on the Iberian Peninsula with a small force. What happened next changed the area entirely for generations. While most of Europe was still suffering during the early Middle Ages, regions of Spain under Muslim dominion became centers of science, medicine, mathematics, philosophy, architecture, and education. Many European towns had no paved streets, libraries, public baths, and streetlights, while cities like Cordoba had. Iconic students of various faiths studied together. Knowledge flowed through these towns like commerce via ports. And you may still see signs of that civilization in southern Spain today. The arches, the yards, the calligraphy engraved onto the antique walls, different vibe over there. But history has grief too. The Muslim kingdoms were divided among themselves as time went on, while the Christians to the north progressively gained strength. But years of fighting, political division, insurrection altered everything. And then 1492. The year in which Muslim authority in Spain was formally terminated. Many Muslims escaped to North Africa. Others changed their faith in an effort to remain and survive. Some never arrived, and perhaps therein is the emotiveness of Spain's past. Iconic for under the beauty of contemporary Spain. There are still murmurs of vanished civilizations, legends that have not been spoken, and people who once thought this place was theirs forever. The scary thing about civilizations coming apart is that most people don't realize it's happening at first. Yet the people of Muslim Spain woke early to their labors, still selling bread in the marketplaces. Children still ran laughing across the streets. From the outside, everything seemed almost normal. But the attitude altered gradually. The Muslim rulers had broken up into different kingdoms and did not trust them any longer. Muslim Spain was already crumbling from inside, while Christian nations to the north were gaining stronger. And history repeats itself with a horrible irony. Sometimes countries are over long before they ever fall down. By the late Reconquista period, dread had crept gradually into daily life. People were questioning what city would come next. Iconic, then came the departure of the family, whom you might still trust with. Then, in 1492, the invasion of Granada. That moment was more than a political loss for many Muslims and Jews. It was the end of the world as they knew it. Some families escaped to North Africa with just the possessions they could carry in their hands. Others stayed because Spain was the only country they had ever called home. Many converted to Catholicism in the aim of living peacefully. But often that was not enough. Suspected, there was terror still. The violence was still going on. And to be honest, that's why this chapter is so hard emotionally. For they were no strangers to the path of history. Iconic. These were people who had built cities, libraries, schools, gardens, hospitals, and communities throughout centuries. Gradually, their language fell out of public life. Churches were turned into mosques, books burned, memories lost from generation to generation. But not quite. Spain still has quietly within it Al-Andalus, and you may feel it even now in historic arches, in fountains, in music, in the spirits of the cities of the south that still recall. But here's the plot surprise that most people don't anticipate regarding Spain. Even after the Muslim Caliphate fell, even after civil wars, invasions, and governmental collapse, Spain was not wiped from the face of the earth. It went off all around the world. For centuries, Spain developed into one of the most powerful empires on earth. Spanish ships sailed across seas to territories not previously ruled by Europeans. And finally, Spain created colonies across Latin America, portions of Africa, Asia, and the Caribbean. And yet today, the impact of Spain still seems nearly difficult to shake. Take a walk across Mexico, Colombia, Argentina, Peru, Cuba, or 100 more countries, and the echoes of Spain are everywhere, in words, religious, architecture, food, music, iconic, even familial customs. Now, Spanish is one of the most spoken languages in the world. It is used by hundreds of millions of individuals on any given day across several continents. And this is what makes that reality seem emotional. Most contemporary Spanish speakers no longer reside in Spain itself. The language spread farther than the empire ever dreamed. But Spain's worldwide growth was also painful and controversial. And so that history also became one of invasion, colonialism, forced conversions, enslavement, and bloodshed. The Spanish invasion in the Americas irrevocably altered whole native civilizations. But for all the intricacy, the cultural legacy of Spain was a profound strand in the fabric of world civilization. Music, flamenco, Roman Catholic customs, Spanish architecture, iconic sports, culture, art. Literature, culinary. It left its fingerprints all across the contemporary world. And maybe that's why Spain still seems so culturally potent now. This is not simply a sleepy European nation situated next door to the Mediterranean. This was a civilization that linked continents. It permanently transformed the identity of whole areas of the planet. And here is when Spain begins to seem spatially weird in the greatest conceivable manner. Because this country does not resemble or feel like the Europe of many people's imagination. Spain is officially Western European, but sometimes it seems Mediterranean, Middle East, North African, yet thoroughly European at the same time. You can see it in the architecture, the weather, music, even the way individuals conduct their everyday lives. Spain is the fourth biggest nation in Europe, but its location is what really makes it special. It is at the intersection of continents and civilizations, and that's where it becomes surprising for many folks. Morocco is the only African country to have land borders with a European country, Spain, iconic in places of southern Spain. North Africa is so near you can almost see the histories staring back at each other over the Mediterranean. That geography defined Spain for hundreds of years. The nation boasts snow-covered mountains, parched desert-like areas, Mediterranean beaches, verdant northern woods, volcanic islands, and some of the most stunning coastlines in Europe. Travel only a few hours in one way, and the mood is so different. Then there is Madrid, the capital of Spain, a city of royal heritage, of giant boulevards, of busy cafes, of football culture and endless vitality. But what most tourists recall are not the structures. It's how it feels to be alive there. People having meal late at night, iconic families wandering through packed plazas after midnight, music reverberating across ancient streets, people chatting to strangers like they have known one another for ages. And maybe it was what the landscape of Spain produced over time. More than merely a nation of strategy, straddling continents, but a site in which many civilizations, climates, religions, and ways of life progressively merged into one emotional identity. But maybe it's not the building, the beaches, or the history that's the best thing about Spain. That is life. In many parts of the world, life appears to be in a rush. People eat quickly, hurry up, work constantly, and now they see each other just occasionally. But life here in Spain still feels convivial, mushy. You see it as the sun starts to set. The plazas fill little by little with families, friends gather for hours outside cafes. Grandparents sit on seats watching youngsters running in the streets, music flowing from neighboring restaurants. No one wants to depart quickly, and that atmosphere actually changes people when they come to Spain. This is a country of deep talk, deep fellowship, and of embracing the moment. Iconic Spain has hundreds of thousands of bars and cafes, but for many people, these places are about much more than food and drink. They are life extensions. People dispute over football, lull weaving stories into the darkness. So, football in Spain is like an emotional religion. When clubs like Real Madrid and FC Barcelona are playing, it seems the cities hold their breath for a few hours. You can hear yells from apartment windows, bars full of strangers hugging after goals, families watching together across decades. But there is another reason aside from the thrill why many people love Spain. The country has one of the longest life expectancies in the world, and maybe some of it is the manner of life itself. Walking is growing, eat gently, get outside, stay connected with friends and family. Iconic in Spain, where success is not always founded on money or productivity alone. Sometimes it's the amount of time you still have to sit outside at night, eating with the ones you love, and even like being alive. But this is what makes Spain so interesting. The nation was not simply bequeathed history. It contributed to shape the contemporary world via knowledge, architecture, engineering, and science. Honestly, some of the biggest accomplishments related to Spain are things that most people do not even hear about. For example, take the Sagrada Familia. This is more than simply a church. In person, it seems nearly unbelievable to many tourists. The origins in 1882, and more than a century later, pieces of it are still being finished. Sunlight flows through large stained glass windows as gigantic columns rise like trees within a stone forest. People walk in and suddenly almost reflexively reduce their voices because the building is not normal. It feels like emotion. Iconic. And then there is another part of Spain that most people ignore totally. The world's oldest working lighthouse, the Tower of Hercules, is still standing on Spain's northern shore after almost 2,000 years. Imagine the number of storms, empires, wars, and generations that lighthouse has observed without a word. But maybe the most significant legacy was left in the age of Al-Andalus. While portions of medieval Europe were struggling through unrest and sickness, Muslim intellectuals in Spain were developing medicine, mathematics, astronomy, and surgery. One of the most important personalities was al-Zahrawi, a Muslim scientist from Islamic Spain. He is generally regarded the founder of modern surgery. He created hundreds of surgical equipment and produced medical writings that affected Europe for generations. And perhaps that's what gives the narrative of Spain its significance. This land was not established by one culture or one faith. It grew strong because for centuries here many civilizations, ideas, languages, and discoveries crossed paths. And even now, Spain still seems like a location where history, creativity, and human aspiration still talk to each other across time. Many people nowadays look at contemporary Spain and perceive just beaches, football, festivals, and attractive cities. But elder generations in Spain recall a far worse period. Because before Spain was the modern democratic nation we know now, the nation suffered years of dread, discord, and bloodshed that tore families apart from within. Spain remained officially neutral throughout both World War I and World War II. But in many respects, the nation had its own calamity before the rest of Europe had really blown up into war. And in 1936, Spain went into a horrific civil war. And what made it so terrible was that this was not just troops battling on faraway battlefields. Neighbors turned on neighbors. Friends lost confidence in one another. Iconic, sometimes even family members found themselves on opposite sides of the issue. For 3 years, the nation was in a turmoil. Bombings have destroyed cities. Thousands vanished. Fear became a part of everyday existence. By the conclusion of the war in 1939, over 500,000 people had been killed. But honestly, you cannot put a figure on the emotional toll. Many had lived decades frightened to voice their own minds about politics, religion, even their own recollections. Some families never really spoke about what occurred. The stillness itself became part of the history of Spain. And maybe that's what makes contemporary Spain seem deeper than visitors think. Music, nightlife, and energy beyond. And there's remembrance. Over time, Spain was rebuilt very slowly. Eventually the dictatorship was over. Democracy was restored, and a new generation grew up in a completely different society. But the past never quite went away. Countries, like individuals, bear emotional scars long after the wounds have stopped bleeding. And maybe this is the aspect of Spain that the world falls in love with initially. Not the wars, not the political, not even the past, but the sense of being alive there. Every year, tens of millions of people come to Spain, yearning for something they cannot always quite articulate. Beaches draw some, others for football, architecture, gastronomy, or nightlife. But many people find themselves chatting more about the environment than the sights. Spain seems vibrant in a really human sense. You see it in packed plazas at midnight. Street musicians play alongside historic structures. In families enjoying supper together long after sunset, when whole neighborhoods still feel alive. Then there is football. Football in Spain is not merely a form of amusement. It becomes identity. It becomes feeling. It becomes family custom handed down through generations. These clubs like Real Madrid and FC Barcelona have millions of followers in Europe and also across the world. Important matches are accompanied by the sound of cities exploding in noise, jubilation, tension, and passion. But it's the festivals of Spain that make the culture unique. La Tomatina, thousands of people toss tomatoes at each other in complete anarchy and hilarity. Meanwhile, Pamplona's legendary running of the bulls combines excitement, danger, and centuries-old history. And above all the festivities, Spain has an astonishing amount of history and beauty too. The nation has dozens of UNESCO World Heritage Sites, including castles, mosques, cathedrals, Roman ruins, mountain villages, and seaside towns. Maybe it is why Spain has such an allure, because it doesn't seem to be one thing. It seems as if many cultures, feelings, and ways of life somehow manage to coexist inside one land. And perhaps it is what makes modern Spain so interesting for the outside world. This country is so contrasting, yet they all work together so well. Spain is one of the greatest economies in the world. It has modern highways and high-speed trains, global companies and luxury visitors, and some of the biggest cities in Europe. But nevertheless, life there still seems slower and more emotional than in many prosperous countries. People still find time for long dinners. Families still get together a lot. Neighbors still talk to each other on the street. And many companies still close in the afternoon, so people can really get rest and have a life outside of work. Many travelers are surprised to see that balance, because modern Spain is not cold and mechanical, still feels incredibly human. And then there is the spiritual paradox of Spain itself. For centuries, Spain was one of the primary centers of Catholic Christianity in Europe. For centuries, the identity of the nation was built in majestic cathedrals, religious festivals, and church traditions. But now Spain is increasingly secular. Although the society still retains religious traditions, many young Spaniards do not pursue religion on a regular basis. But the country still has spiritual traces of its past. The influence of Muslim architecture may be seen throughout southern Spain. Roman history amid the ruins of old age, Catholic identity in churches, festivals, culture in the food, way of life and vitality of the Mediterranean daily existence. And maybe it is the truth of Spain. This is not a country built on a single identity. This is a place built by Christians and Muslims, Romans and Mediterranean merchants, European kings and artists and travelers, and generations of ordinary people trying to make a meaningful life. And perhaps that's why Spain doesn't quite feel like a country, and more like millennia of human civilization learning to live together within a single country. If this gave you a fresh viewpoint, subscribe for more intriguing views, and tell me what spoke to you the most in today's video. Thanks for viewing the whole video. See you in the future one.